Everyone wants better technique on saxophone, right? Sometimes you just need that clear goal to really nail down your technique, and you need to commit to it. So today I'm going to teach you something very simple. I'm calling it the 12-1 scale challenge. It just means you're going to play all 12 scales in one breath. You're going to start each scale from the root, go up to the 9th and back again, and then go up a semitone. Now, this is not something that I've come up with myself. This is quite a common thing that you will see elsewhere in the internet. But you know what? Just because it's been done elsewhere doesn't make it any less efficacious. That's a good word. So I'm pro saxophonist Jamie Anderson. You're watching Get Your Sax Together. Let's dig straight into this and I'll talk you through it. Many times people will start on C, but I think it's quite difficult to start on C because it's quite a sort of parpy, difficult note to start, isn't it? So I'm doing the exercise starting on D, which is a good balance of going up high without starting too low. So we're going to start with D major. And it's pretty simple. This isn't rocket science. You're just going to play D major scale up to the 9th and back. But instead of going back to D, you then skip up to E flat. And so on. E. And so on and so forth. You don't need me to do them all, if I can get my words out, right the way through, and then you finish back on D. Now, the devil is in the detail. So first of all, let's talk about some of the things you're going to focus on as you practice this. You're going to practice with a metronome, obviously. So maybe the first phase for you will just be getting familiar with the notes. In which case, you might even do it without a metronome once you're just figuring out the notes. But as soon as you've got them sort of vaguely under your fingers, get that metronome on. Now, in the early days, it's probably going to be difficult to string them together. So you want to start with one scale and then hit the next note and then take a pause and then start again. So let's just say I've got 90 BPM on the old metronome here. You could do something along those lines, and it doesn't have to be, excuse me, it doesn't have to be as fast as that by any means. You could do it as slow as you need to do it. Then you can start joining on to do maybe 2 scales in a row and then stop. So let's try that. That sort of thing. By the way, you can also just work as long as you need to on even one scale. Just go da 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 da, and then do it again and again until it starts to feel comfortable under your fingers. Now, in case it doesn't need saying, you should be practicing with very good technical technique. Now, what are the main points of that? Relaxed fingers. Let me just go back to full screen so I can show you properly. Relaxed fingers, okay? And you're going to drop your wrists like you're carrying 2 drinks. So dropped wrists, relaxed fingers, and your fingers, you want to have your fingers kind of horizontal. See how my fingers are horizontal? They're not pointing down, what I call a beaver paw. And you want to make sure that your thumb is covering the octave key there. I'm not really in focus. It's always so difficult. You want to make sure your thumb is covering the octave key and your thumb is pointing diagonally upwards. Your thumb shouldn't be pointing down. That's going to give you an instant like beaver paw. Right, no Tower Bridge. That means your fingers shouldn't be flapping in the air like Tower Bridge letting a tall boat through. So fingers close to the keys, minimum movement, shoulders relaxed, and you're going to try and create the scales as smoothly and consistently as possible. That's the aim of the game here. Now, pro tip. If you want to be able to do all 12 in one breath, that's a long stretch and you're going to need to play it pretty quietly, depending on your setup. I've got an 8-star mouthpiece and a 3.5 reed, so I need to play this pretty quietly. Otherwise, you run out of breath. Now, that's another reason this exercise is so fantastic, because it really helps you with your breath control. So you have to take a nice big breath in, stay relaxed, and then tease that breath out through the exercise gradually. Now, I've got a little psychological trick that I use for this, and that is play a few scales, 3, 4, 5 scales, and then say to yourself, oh, this is good, I haven't used up any air yet. You've got to think beyond the finish line if you want your air to last through the whole exercise. Now, if you can't play them quick enough, no matter how much air you've got, you won't be able to do it in one breath, which is why it's the 12-1 challenge. So don't feel that in the early days you have to be able to play it all in one breath. That is the final destination. Now, the slowest metronome mark that I can, about the slowest, let's say, I could probably really push it if I played quadruple P. But the slowest I can play is 90 BPM. Crotchet's 90 BPM. That's quarter notes, 90 BPM. That is something that I can sustain and get all 12 scales out if I play nice and quietly. And then my kind of upper goal tempo is probably about 130, 140, but that is really very fast. And even I, as a professional musician, I can hear all the imperfections in my technique. So I'm with you. This is something I'm going to be doing through the year myself to try and improve my technique. You can always improve. So let's have the whole thing at 90 BPM, and then we'll try and move on from there. So I'm going to need a nice big breath, and I'm going to need to play quite quietly to make this work. Was quite a push, actually. That's why it's so good for breath control. All right, let's push the tempo up. And at that tempo, you can really hear all the sort of imperfections in my technique, where some notes are like going too quick to the next ones. And that's the goal, to really kind of iron all that stuff out. Right, let's, for the purposes of this video, because you're getting the idea, aren't you, right? Let's skip right up to 120 BPM and see where we can go with this thing. I'll try not to make any mistakes. So as I'm listening to myself do it, I can hear where there's really chunky bits which aren't really good. So I could actually, in my practice sessions, isolate those little chunks, try and iron out some of those inconsistencies. Let's move the tempo up now to 130 so you can see where this thing goes. I can't guarantee I'll play this very well. I'm putting myself in the spotlight here. Right, there we go. Now, there is an extra level of rhythmic development that you can add to this by putting the metronome on 2 and 4. We're going to come back to that. But let's take it, I tell you what, just for a laugh, let's take it up to 140. I can't guarantee I'll be able to do this. All right, there we go. We're just going to break down. Should we just do it? What have we got to lose? Let's go 160. I can start to feel myself kind of surging for the top note, which is a bit kind of a blaggy way to do it, but come on, we're all friends, let's do this. Okay, well, one more. Come on, one more. I want to get to the point where I can't do it. 180? Ah. All right, there we go. It's starting to break down now. Now, one final bonus tip for you, and that is that you can put the metronome on 2 and 4 instead of 1 and 3. That's going to be really good practice. So let's knock it back to, say, I don't know, 120. But this time we're going to put the metronome on the offbeats, okay? And we'll see if I can play it. So now it's 1, 2, hang on, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, and. I forgot it's slower. I need more wind. Okay, so that's great practice. Now, the way to do this exercise is all legato, smooth, joined up, because then you can really hear your technique. But it's not the only way you can do it. You can also practice your swing phrasing, for example. My God, I'm getting gassed. There's an exercise you can do with phrasing where you half tongue on the way up, you half tongue, you go do 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 do, and then you slur dia 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 dia. So you're going to go like this. So that's another great way that you can practice your jazz phrasing and your half tonguing if you are able to do those things. So as this video comes out, it's going to be a new year, a fresh realm of possibilities for you. This is a fantastic exercise to start doing throughout the year, although you can start at any time. And it's really going to dial in your technique in quite a basic way. 12 major scales, 1 breath. Don't forget to check out my awesome Saxophone Success Masterclass, which is full of a bunch of really transformative teaching, which is instantly going to move the needle on your playing. Okay, can't wait for a new year of awesome saxophone content. And if you haven't already heard about it, make sure that you're in the Inner Circle membership this year, because it is full of goodies to really transform your saxophone progress. And you can hang out with the friendliest, most fun bunch of saxophone enthusiasts on the interneppers. Okay, until next time, make sure you practice hard, practice smart, and enjoy your music. Take it easy. Did you know that 61% of you who are watching this video are not subscribed to my channel? Now, I make hundreds of videos to help the saxophone community, so if you want to do something nice for me, please just hit subscribe right now. Go on, if you're not subscribed, hit subscribe right now. Do it. That's one easy thing that you can do to really help me out and help me take this message to more and more sax players and make the world a better place.